Loretta Swit, a CBS series star, died today in New York. Captain, I realize this seems silly, but what are you doing? Before her death, Loretta Swit, better known as Major Houlihan, Loretta Swit received 2 Emmys for playing Korean War Mobile Army Surgical Hospital head nurse Major Margaret Houlihan, broke her silence and disclosed the reasons. The MASH cast left one of television's most famous shows. Not simply jobs or contracts. It was dirtier, deeper, and more emotional than fans expected. Swit revealed everything from behind-the-scenes conflicts to personal heartbreaks and creative struggles. With her passionate closing words, we learn the dramatic unknown stories that made the stars say farewell forever. This show revolutionized television forever. MASH debuted in September 1972, but few expected it to change TV. The series, based on Richard Hooker's novel and Robert Altman's 1970 film, attempted to combine the brutality of battle with surreal humor. Interestingly, this odd mix worked well. Millions of Americans loved MASH for 11 seasons, making it one of the most beloved TV shows. The story took place at Wajongbu, South Korea, during the Korean War. The 4,077th Mobile Army Surgical Hospital doctors, nurses, and troops were featured in each episode. By day, they rushed to save the wounded, their hands bloody and their minds heavy with sorrow. By night, they performed pranks, taunts, and ingenious methods to stay upbeat. Laughter protected them from despair in that dreary war-torn region where a heartbeat separated life and death. MASH stood out because of its emotional depth. The show might quickly switch from hilarious to heartbreaking. You could laugh at Hawkeye's latest prank or Klinger's frilly dress attempt to secure a mental release. Radar done. I must burn bloomers. The next second, you'd be crying when Radar entered the operating room to announce Colonel Blake's sudden death, one of TV's most memorable moments. No show had ever attempted to balance hilarity and grief so bravely. The characters in MASH felt like old friends over 11 seasons and 256 episodes. Alan Alda played Hawkeye Pierce, a skilled yet naughty surgeon with constant compassion. The devoted sidekick Trapper John, played by Wayne Rogers, was exhausted but funny. Loretta Swit made Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan a strong, passionate leader who was more complex than her nickname. McLean Stevenson's sympathetic depiction of Colonel Henry Blake won over everyone, while Larry Lynville's stiff Frank Burns was superb. Radar O'Reilly, Gary Berghoff's charming, soft-spoken cashier with amazing intuition, became iconic. Jamie Farr as Klinger in his outrageous clothes and William Christopher as caring Father Mulcahy brought more color. Behind the brilliant quips and emotional sequences was a deeper story that audiences rarely saw. The actors and crew felt pressure as the show's popularity grew. On set, ego confrontations, creative differences, and tiredness were common. Even though MASH won, its final episode was seen by nearly 100 million people, a record for decades. Creators paid dearly for the journey. Despite the humor, bringing such a remarkable narrative to life was hard. Many cast members left as the show gained viewers. Who left? They left why? Find out. Fame turned to conflict and the secret turmoil. MASH looked like a loving family of charming misfits always ready with a joke or a cunning idea. The truth was messy and full of hidden conflicts behind those scenes. Many actors joined assuming they'd be equals in an ensemble group, each contributing in their own way. After a few seasons, Alan Alda's hilarious wisecracking Hawkeye Pierce overshadowed everything else. Everyone recognized Alda's talent. In addition to acting, he wrote, directed, and shaped the show's voice. However, some of his co-stars felt their roles decreasing. They watched Hawkeye dominate the show while their personalities faded. Wayne Rogers, who played Trapper John McIntyre, broke first. He joined thinking Trapper would share Hawkeye's shenanigans. By season 3, the scripts focused solely on Hawkeye. Trapper had become a sidekick, not a co-star. Rogers, an opinionated, independent man, refused to work in someone else's shadow, no matter how popular the show was. He took a risk. He quit, giving up solid salary and fame. Despite his departure, he and Alda remained friends, illustrating that professional rivalry didn't have to ruin personal ones. McLean Stevenson, who played kind Colonel Henry Blake, faced another dilemma. He enjoyed being the gentle, bumbling leader who kept the unit together, but he feared being typecast forever if he stayed too long. Stevenson left to pursue new chances, believing he was ready for greater, more varied responsibilities. His exit was memorable on the show. Audiences were devastated by Colonel Blake's helicopter crash death. Stevenson learned a harsh lesson later. Fans loved the persona more than the performer. Despite occasional regret, he stuck to his decision. Larry Lynville, who played sneering, clueless Frank Burns for 5 seasons, also left. For imaginative reasons. Frank was always the joke, a shallow villain. Lynville, stuck repeating tired gags, wanted to show he could do more. When his contract expired, he refused to renew and moved on, determined to avoid being TV's biggest idiot. Finally, the sweet-faced Radar O'Reilly, Gary Berghoff, left for personal fulfillment. Playing a young, naive character at 40 exhausted him by season 8. This gizmo separated from the object and didn't drip into the doohickey, right? Radar, excuse my technical jargon, but I understand. He missed family. Long hours and on-set stress like a yelling match with Stevenson exhausted him. He opted for family and health over fame. The departures showed something most MASH supporters never expected. The laughing hid ambition, impatience, and a desperate need for creative independence. Loretta Swit continued to appear in MASH despite the massive throng that fled. Let's examine Loretta Swit's dramatic change. Punchline to powerhouse. Loretta Swit was a constant in MASH when many performers came and went. Maintaining was harder than it seems. Major Margaret Houlihan was initially portrayed as a joke, a rule-obsessed officer with a foolish secret love with Frank Burns. She often resembled a cartoon. Loretta Swit decided she didn't want to portray the shallow Margaret. She wanted a more complex persona viewers could relate to. She pestered the authors and producers to give Margaret greater depth and authenticity. First, they resisted. Her point soon became clear. After Frank Burns' actor Larry Lynville quit the show, everything changed. Margaret might grow without the poisonous bond. She ended her foolish affair and began developing real relationships with Hawkeye Pierce and B.J. Honeycutt, her fellow doctors. She became a powerful, multifaceted lady who could be stern but tender and kind instead of the punchline. In a hectic wartime hospital, she was humorous, principled, and determined to maintain her dignity. Swit's effort paid off. She missed only 11 episodes in the series. She moved audiences with her passionate performance. Margaret won 2 Emmys and received numerous messages from fans who saw themselves in her struggle to be acknowledged and taken seriously in a male-dominated field. While Margaret became stronger on film, Swit fought her own battles behind the scenes. As one of the few women in the lead cast, she had to stand up to ensure her character had smart, equitable stories. She sometimes felt drained and alone from this relentless effort. Later, she stated that it was often an uphill battle that made her feel alienated, as if she were carrying the character's advancement alone. A prominent part on Cagney and Lacey may have given Swit a fresh start. She was not released from her contract by MASH producers. The disappointment was devastating. Still, she stayed. She stayed because she believed in what she was developing, not out of duty. She feared that leaving would ruin all her work to alter Margaret and turn her into a stereotype. Loretta Swit's perseverance paid off. Her dedication made Major Margaret Houlihan one of television's most beloved female characters, proving that women could be multifaceted, strong, and inspiring. As the director, one actor's rise may have caused some performers to leave. Discuss his directorship, genius, and animosity. Besides playing MASH's witty surgeon Hawkeye Pierce, Alan Alda was much more. He became the series' heartbeat and driving force throughout time. In addition to acting, Alda wrote and directed many episodes. His concept made MASH a serious investigation of war's hidden scars from a light-hearted military comedy. Alda deepened the series' exploration of soldiers' and medics' challenges. Episodes began to address important issues including PTSD's invisible scars, the military's mistreatment of women, and the stress of perpetual violence. Though difficult to see, their stories made the presentation feel real and vital. The honesty and profundity of MASH impressed critics. Because the show no longer hid the characters' anguish and humor, viewers connected with them more. Alda helped MASH become more than a TV show. It became a staple of American society, providing both humor and reality about combat. However, others behind the scenes were unhappy with this change. Alda's creative influence grew, and other cast members felt their characters were eclipsed. Once a genuine ensemble where every performer was significant, it became more like Hawkeye Pierce's escapades, as Wayne Rogers put it. Contract disputes and screen time disputes erupted between actors. Some felt MASH's early collaborative spirit was fading. Despite these obstacles, Loretta Swit, who played Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan, never stopped admiring Alda. He was described as a talented and generous co-worker who lifted everyone around him. Their relationship transcended cameras. The show fostered respect and friendship that lasted long beyond the finale. Alda's influence changed the series, even Swit admitted. He made it smarter and more bold, but it lost part of its playful equilibrium. For better or worse, Alda permanently changed the show. His dedication made MASH a revered classic that still resonates with audiences. Before her death, Loretta Swit confirmed the cast's departure reasons. Cause of her death? Find out. Last moments of Loretta Swit. On MASH, Loretta Swit played Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan, a strong-willed head nurse who will be remembered by millions of fans worldwide. The program lasted for a decade and became part of American pop culture, and Swit's performance was unforgettable. On May 30th, 2025, famous actress Loretta Swit died at 87. Authorities haven't disclosed her cause of death, but new facts about her final hours are emerging. These disclosures provide devastated fans and friends a glimpse into her final moments. People are curious and emotional as they remember the great woman behind so many unforgettable performances. Harlan Bowl, her longtime publicist, told the press some of these details. Bowl called Loretta on Thursday, May 29th, evening. She sounded natural during that talk. In good spirits. Nothing seemed wrong or sick with her. Next morning, Loretta's maid found her unresponsive at her New York City apartment at 10 a.m. Though emergency services were contacted, they arrived too late. 2 hours later, at noon, she was declared dead. Later, Bo told TMZ that she died naturally, though her death's cause is still being investigated. Loretta Swit's acting career was superb. She went beyond hot lips. She was an accomplished performer respected in the profession. Her brilliance, perseverance, and distinctive persona earned her 10 Emmy Award nominations over her decades-long career. Her work inspired actors and moved audiences of all ages. Swit kept her personal life low-key. She died unmarried with no children. However, she had known love and companionship before. According to Hollywood Reporter, she married once. To actor Dennis Holahan. While filming MASH, they met, where their love of acting united them. After marrying in 1983, they seemed inseparable. Their 1995 divorce ended their marriage. Her job and animal welfare causes remained her priorities after their breakup. Her death ends an era. Fans, colleagues, and friends contemplate her incredible legacy. Loretta Swit was a skilled actress, friendly, and committed person who left an impact on television. She will be remembered as the woman who brought Hot Lips Houlihan to life, and as a performer whose work will be appreciated for centuries. Loretta Swit leaves a legacy that has touched many by making her followers happy. Let's explore her legacy. The heritage of laughter, suffering, and purpose. Loretta Swit proved she was more than Margaret Hot Lips, MASH Houlihan, throughout her life. She didn't disappear after the show. Instead, she focused on new television and theater ventures. Swit married Dennis Holahan, a MASH guest star, but they divorced. She never let personal misfortune stop her. Swit championed larger causes with her celebrity. She championed animal rights before Hollywood became activist. She went vegan, spoke out against cruelty, and relentlessly for animal rights. Swit didn't do this for fun. The mission was important to her. Her creativity went beyond acting, discovered peace and joy in needlepoint. She created a book on her designs and how making things helped her cope with difficult times. In her later years, she retained her spark. She was lively and vocal, proving aging did not dampen her enthusiasm. She gave her fans the truth before dying at 87. She frankly explained why so many cast members left the show. They were exhausted from long hours, emotional stress, and the often tense, politically charged climate behind the scenes. Swit also frankly discussed her struggles as the only woman in the primary cast to ensure her character was treated and depicted with dignity. She reminded the world that behind the humor were genuine individuals struggling with pride, tiredness, fear, and the desire to leave something significant. MASH was no ordinary sitcom. Showing that war was silly and terrible was groundbreaking. It created unforgettable characters and helped performers find their power and grit. Loretta Swit was one of the last survivors of that amazing time. A woman who defied a male-dominated industry and created a heroine. The departures, tension, and goodbyes were part of a bigger drama. A story of courage, change, and the power of telling the truth, even when it's hard. MASH wasn't just TV. It was life. Messy, profound, and unforgettable. Why do you think many actors departed MASH? We want to hear your comments below. Remember to like and subscribe.